I'm Laura Cross of Rebel Seed Films and Entertainment. I'm the writer and producer of the short action war drama Devil Dogs. And in this special podcast, I have a conversation with an actor from the film. Today I'm talking with actor Raihan Baqui, who plays Private First Class Juarez in Devil Dogs. Raihan is a young actor who has appeared in the short film Always a Bridesmaid and in the series Up North. He says, "I'm just your ordinary Mexican Middle Eastern actor on his journey to becoming extraordinary by following my dreams, visions, and ideals." Hey Raihan, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here.
Hi Laura. No, yeah, I'm super pumped to be on the show as well.
So I always start my conversation with what was your life like when you were young, which seems a little odd for this conversation since you're still fairly young, but I'd love to learn about where you grew up and what your family was like and were they supportive of what you wanted to do?
Oh my God, yeah. So I grew up in Houston, Texas, not actually in Houston itself, but in a suburb of it, right on the outskirts called Cypress. Really nice place. It was really just a good place to raise a family. It was very safe, very homey, and my elementary school was right in my neighborhood, so everything was just walking distance from me. Growing up, I was a middle child of three brothers. I have an older brother named Alex and a little brother named Adnan. And from then, my older brother was someone he's really, really smart. My little brother's super good at sports, and then I was the awkward middle child. I was not sure at all what I wanted to do with my life. My mom noticed this. I was very sporadic. I did one thing for a little bit and then jumped to another. I was like, I wanted to be a rock star at one time. Then I wanted to be a gymnast, and then I wanted to do I wanted to sing. And then there's all these different skills that I would bounce around, but I couldn't find what just kept my fire going. And eventually, my mom just saw I just go out and play and I just pretend, and she saw that's when I was the happiest. And she's like, Ryan, would you want to become an actor? And I thought about it once. I didn't know that was a possibility. I was like, wait, that's a real job? Like those people on TV, they can do that for a living? She's like, yeah. And that's when I knew. I was like 12 or 13. I was like, that's what I want to do with my life.
So obviously your mom was very supportive.
Oh yeah.
And your father as well?
Oh my God. My mom definitely was most supportive out of it. My dad kind of, at first, he was like, Raihan, not really a realistic job, try to focus on something you can make a real living off of.
So he was a little concerned that you could make money off of this crazy thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but my mom was totally like, just follow your dreams, whatever you want to do, just go for it. And I was just, both of them, my dad kept the sanity within me, and my mom kept that fire of passion, because so I wasn't at the one or the other extreme. They balanced me out.
So when you were in high school, were you doing plays? Were you doing acting in school? Was that something that they even offered?
Yeah. So when I first started out, I was in choir. I was in theater. I was doing art. I was switching out every semester. But then it came to a point where I got very discouraged as of I had an agency off of aside from high school, and I was starting to work outside of school with my acting, just doing improv, acting classes, commercial classes. And I did a showcase in Dallas called Pro Scout, and I got a couple callbacks from agencies, but I don't know, things kind of fell through, and then there's a part of me that I felt like I wanted a normal life for a little bit. That I got almost jealous of my friends that they were able to live their lives, my high school lives, going to the movies and hanging out, going to parties and such. And I was the kid that was by myself working towards my dreams, but I allowed my own, momentarily desires of fitting in and having friends take over my passion.
So you got off your path there.
Yeah, I got a little distracted. So I ended up not dropping out, but I stopped theater for a bit. I stopped my acting classes. I pretty much just focused on having a normal life. Mm-hmm. But after high school, I realized how unimportant that was, because all those kids that I spent so much time worrying about, like what they were doing, what they thought of me, what we're going to do on the weekends, after I graduated, I didn't talk to like 98% of them. And I realized, like, wow, I really should just, and after I graduated, I was attending my orientation for my first year of college when my agency again contacted me and was like, hey, we have this acting team, we're auditioning for an acting team that's going to go out to LA for a talent competition. And that kind of like...
So let me ask you, so you were actually really off your path. You were going to college, and you weren't studying theater.
No, I got completely just pretty much, I didn't think it was a real thing. I was like, I kind of thought it was just a little lapse, like, okay, maybe I'm crazy for wanting to be an actor. I need to be a normal person, get a normal job, that sort of. I was going to college to become a biomedical engineer. And that alone, it did not make me happy. It sounded like stressful, but all I knew was like, hey, I'll make money from this. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of sacrificing my soul just to keep doing the normal rut of going to college to get a job to raise a family. But my agency, that one little call kind of like saved my passion. That feeling once again came back up like, oh, this is what I want to do. So as soon as I finished my orientation, I came right back to Houston, and I was again like doubting myself, like, oh, they're going to be auditioning like 500, 600 people. Why would they choose me? But you know what? I'll just give it a shot. And what do you know? I made a team of 20, the final 20 that actually made the team and gets to go to LA. And that was the beginning sign, like, this is real. I have what it takes. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it.
And so then how did mom and dad respond to, I'm not going to stick with biomedical engineering, I'm going to LA?
It was a little bit of a task because when I was training for the team, we trained every weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for like, I want to say 4 or 5 months before the competition was in January, and we started training in August. But at the same time we started training, I was starting my first semester in college. So Monday through Friday afternoonish, I'd be at school, and then I'd leave immediately after I finished my last class from San Antonio to drive 3 or 4 hours to Houston so I can prep for my acting classes on the weekend.
So you were actually trying to do both still. You were trying to stick with it.
And then even like during that, I did not have like the typical college life at all. My roommates, all my other friends, they're all partying, going getting wasted on the weekends, and I was just committed. I was like, I know what I want. I'm not going to let this happen again. This happened to me once before in the past that I let the distractions, what other people want, what other people want to do, affect me before. But now I know what I want, and I'm gonna stick with this. And so the whole first semester, my grades weren't as great as they could be because my heart wasn't fully in the school. It was in training for the competition. And as soon as I went out for the first week of January, it was so unreal. It was the first time I was ever in Los Angeles. It was literally like I stepped down into paradise. I was down at the Westin Bonaventure Hotel in downtown, and it was just an incredible experience. Just everyone filled the hotel. All these actors and singers and all this phenomenal talent are just going around. Just the energy was amazing because everyone was so passionate about what they wanted to do. And the competition ended up going great for me. I ended up getting a scholarship. I booked a manager. I got a couple callbacks from acting agencies, and then I made great connections at that. And after that competition was the moment, like, this is what I want to do with my life. I went back to my school. I put myself in for a sabbatical as of like taking a break from college, but as of right now, I don't have any intention of going back anytime soon because this is my career and I'm just giving it my full commitment.
So what do you think that you learned or discovered about yourself from that experience of trying to do the biomedical engineering thing and then having this, having your agent or contact you and shift everything for you again?
The main thing I learned was like, I think we all kind of go through it. We're kind of, when we're growing up, there's always that one thing that gets us, that fires up our heart. that we can do forever for like no, we don't even have to get paid for, that just like feeds our soul. But at the same time, it's some people will say, oh, that's not reasonable. You can't make money off that. So we completely have to switch our mentality, like, oh, now I have to find a career for my life that I will make money and so I can survive, and instead of surviving, I won't be happy. Mm-hmm. So it's like happiness over survival, and you have to make the choice of which one you want. And with me, that was in the same rut. I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this normal job where I'll probably hate my job 9 to 5 every day, but, I mean, I'll be able to raise a family and do all these things like parents told me. Mm-hmm. But now when an agency gave me that call right before, I was like, wow, I really did not want to go study this in college. This is what I wanted, because I was just, when I talked about it, I just lit up, and I was like, it brought so much joy into both my body and my expressions, and I was like, this is what I want. I know for a fact, like
it sounds like you were just waiting for that opportunity for somebody to present that opportunity, and say you can do this. And maybe one of the things that we learn is that these type of things do not have to be mutually exclusive, that we can do what we love and actually live a good life doing it and not be worried about survival. And not, because there's a lot of people who make a living doing what they love. Mm-hmm. No one says you have to suffer through your life. Right? So after you realized you wanted to take this quote-unquote sabbatical from biomedical engineering and come out to L.A., your parents were supportive of it.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. And
by that time, go ahead.
So I know that you come from a unique family. Your father's from Bangladesh and your mother's from Mexico, which must have given you a very unique perspective growing up.
Yes.
And you have mentioned to me before that it's really added to you as an actor. Tell us about that. Yeah,
for me as an actor, both I grew up within two different cultures. My dad was a Muslim and my mom was Catholic. So my dad has a culture from like Middle East, Bangladesh, and then my mom has the culture of that Catholic upraising in Mexico. And coming together in Houston, I was exposed to both of them, because I'd be hanging out with my dad's side of the family on some weekends where it's all just one culture, like we're celebrating Eid, Ramadan, and then we're going to the mosque on Fridays. And then on other weeks, I'd be with my mom's family. I'd be going to mass on Sundays and just hanging around, having families like fajita nights, and just grilling, and so it was a complete two different like perspectives of culture, and that really opened me up as a child to see like, wow, there really is so much, like within my life there's already so much culture and just people, and what else can I experience? And that's one of the things that really just empowered me to become an actor.
Mm-hmm. And so how did that mesh together? You just kind of, the family blended those two different cultures and those two different religions, and so you explored both? Yes.
As a child, it was, mosque on Fridays, mass on Sundays. And so it was a little strange, a lot to take in as a kid, mm-hmm. but as well, it really did like open me up to the concept of what religion is and how many people, and just the fact what confused me though was pretty much I was baptized and I had a communion, but the fact that people that don't get that in the Catholic religion are said to go to hell. And then that just made me think, like, well, what about my other side of my family? They're not baptized, but they're still great people. They have belief, they have faith in the same God, but it's the same thing. And on that side, if they don't believe, it's pretty much if I stuck with one side of my family, I was condemning the other. And I just kind of stepped back. I'm like, you know what? This can't be right. If there really is an all-loving God, then all of my family should be able to go to heaven all together. So that's what embarked me on this just search for not religion, but just truth. Mm-hmm. Just one all-loving God that loves all people, not specifically like you have to be one certain religion, because I just believe like a religion in general is a form of labels and limits, and a lot of religions work out of fear, where if you don't do this or if you don't do that, it's like a parent saying, yeah, you have to do a certain way, when really all it should be is just be the best you can be, and just work out of love and not fear, and just motivate others, empower others, and just have good morals.
So that's something that you're actively exploring. I notice on your Facebook a lot of times you have different quotes. You have like a Buddhist quote today, and so is that what you're doing? You're really actively exploring different philosophies?
Oh, yeah. And so, yeah, just with me, just both different philosophies, and just being more aware, and just being conscious of what I'm doing, or how I'm living, and just trying to be the best person I can be. And I realize, like, within all religions, whether it's Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, it all covers the same trend, where people have this Messiah who is completely and absolutely free and full of love. That is what they're just the complete embodiment of unconditional love. And people see that, and the thing is, they put their faith within the Messiah, when all the Messiah is trying to teach them is, no, you can put the faith within yourself, and you can be just as great as me. You can be this amazing and open person. Just, you don't have to judge others. You can look at everyone with acceptance, and be able to see everyone just like yourself, and to see them with love. But first, I realized everything starts within. One of the things I found out was I didn't love myself growing up, and to really truly appreciate and love others, that I have to take the time to just love myself. I have to treat myself like the hero of my life. And I used to put other people above me on like pedestals, and I always worked to make them happy, but that never pleased anyone.
Well, that's a huge discovery, and that's a huge awareness. Why do you think that that maybe you weren't valuing yourself fully? I would think, obviously, you already were setting yourself apart as an actor and being so committed and disciplined compared to all your friends who were partying and thinking about what they were going to do on the weekends. Did did the mix of your family kind of set you apart also? Did that have an impact? Or is that kind of common, a lot of mixing of religions in that area?
Not religion. Well,
or
more
cultures. There's mixing of cultures.
Yeah, the cultures, and then social conditioning. Because I realized I had to go. During my acting, I was, as much as I wanted to open up, I realized, like, when I was just letting go, that my own weaknesses would show up in the characters, and the character didn't have that problem. Only I did. And my acting coach was like, "Raihan, why is it happening?" I was like, "I don't know. No, that's just," I label it as, that's what I always did in my life. That's how I was. But recently I took the time to sit down, and I was like, wow, like, me as a person, I am actually a character still. I am playing the character of Raihan, who I built up and identified myself with and said, this is who I am. When I sat back and I was like, wow, no, like, I am only all these conditioned reflexes I learned from my parents growing up, society, my teachers, everything. So everything I learned from others is what I consider myself to be. But I looked back, I'm like, no, who I am is like that passionate and just outgoing kid when I was 2 or 3, completely free of what anyone told me. I was like, that's what I want to get back to, is just completely accepting my true self and just who I really am at my core, and just letting go all of my limiting beliefs and like what other people want from me, and just starting to listen to myself and for what I want for my life. I guess the biggest thing that kind of hindered me was just growing up my parents. I mean, my parents were the most amazing and perfect parents I could ask for, but as well, what they thought was best for me was actually one of the things that was hurting me, but they didn't know. Like with my mom, she was very strict and controlling, but she wanted us to be like very responsible and proper and be able to do things for ourselves. But I completely generalized it that the reason she was so strict was because I was not good enough, that I could never live up to her standards, and I kind of internalized that towards myself. So I kind of suppressed my own who I was, and that at an early age I started teaching myself to put on like a mask to please others, to be what they want so they would be happy with me, and that's how I would get that love back for me. When in the end I was pretty much almost committing like a spiritual suicide, where I could never express my actual essence.
Mm. Well, life is an endless lesson, and every experience is what allows us to become who we truly are. And it sounds like you are absolutely on your path doing that, for sure. So you're out here. Let's get back to your acting. Thank you so much for sharing and being so transparent and insightful with that. Because obviously, being an actor requires. I'm always just amazed. I think actors are the bravest people, some of the bravest people ever, because you have got to be so vulnerable and do things that, I would never be an actor. So, what you're doing is really just going to make you, give you that personal development, but also help you with your acting. So you came out here. I know that your first project that you ended up on was a web series called Up North. Tell us about that.
Yeah, oh my God, that was just, I was going out auditioning a few times, but that first few months are the hardest because I had no credits. I had nothing I had a couple, I had a couple plays from like my middle school, my high school, but that was nothing of credentials out in LA. And I was just like, my normal middle school suburban life over there. So coming out here, it was hard to get that one person to say, you know what, you don't have anything that I can fall back, I can take credit for, but just to have them to go on just undying faith and I believe in you. Let me give you this part. And this web series, they were the first people, and they were actually upcoming actors as well, and they're trying to make their own vision possibility because they are creating their own web series. And just to be within like-minded individuals, they're all in their 20s as well. They saw that. They saw my energy and they're like, you're perfect. We don't care if you haven't worked yet. We want you. And that was the first thing that kind of set it off. And I was like, it's okay. I finally booked that first job.
And how was the experience? Obviously, it must have given you incredible courage to keep going and motivation and inspiration. So tell us about the experience of doing the web series.
Just to know, with acting, there's a lot of rejection, and with that comes sometimes I start to doubt myself, am I really making the right choice? But with this, as soon as I book my first, it starts that whole snowball effect, yes, this motivation and this confidence, and I got this. This is going to happen. And with that, it was just an amazing experience to finally have the chance to become a character on a series, a little web series, on a show, just to have it on film where I can see myself, hey, that's me, but it's not me. It's someone else. Mm-hmm. And that was a cool thing to see. Mm-hmm. As well as just to see everything that goes on behind the camera, how much goes to make this thing. Because I always think they probably do that real quick, 1, 2, but it's way more than just 1 or 2 takes. It's really, you got to do 5 takes from one angle, 3 takes from the other. We only had one camera to shoot with, so to get this 5-minute little clip took us almost a couple hours.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing, yeah. Once you've been in the filmmaking process, you never watch a show or a film the same way again, right? You're what goes into it. Yeah. So obviously that must have kind of reinvigorated you or reiterated or validated that you've made the right choice on your path, that that you're meant to be an actor.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So tell me, what are some of the other projects that you did before you came on to Devil Dogs?
The next project that I did was a student thesis film called Ruless. It was for student thesis film at Occidental College in Eagle Rock. And what was special about this film was this is actually the first film I got cast as a lead in. So that was because my
huge.
Vision, for my vision, myself. Actually, when I went to go audition, I was auditioning for one of the best friends, and the director and the filmmaker was like, hold on a second. He looked at me and he's like, hey, can you try these sides actually? And he gave me the sides for Christian, which was the lead of the film. And I was like, yeah. And I went ahead and I said, he's like, wow, he's like, I love it. You're perfect. He's like, you're exactly what I had in mind for this character. And just to see someone like be so like that perfect match, like it finally clicked in. I was like, oh, I wasn't even thinking that I was gonna like try out for the lead today, and he gave me the lead position right on the spot. I was like, yes, I'd love to. And from that moment, I worked with him all like for a couple, I want to say 5 months, working on the week, because he had school during the weekdays, and on the weekends we'd shoot. We'd always be shooting on the weekends, and it was a great experience, because that was the first time I got to work with the director, the producer, and just the camera guys, and really come together and see a film come to life, because we got to know each other, know each other's energies, and just know what we wanted, and just it was a great experience. And that we shot all in the first semester, and we wrapped around December. And the second semester he was in college, he was doing the post-production, and he actually recently invited me last April to see the screening of it. And that was, oh my God, that was one of the best moments of my life so far.
Yeah.
To really go sit down in theater, and then having all these other short films, the student thesis films go up on screen, seeing how everyone just put out their project, their vision, and then finally to see myself, like that was my first time I saw myself on a big screen, like on a theater screening. It was like, what?
Yeah, that's a huge experience. You know,
it gave me chills, and just this surreal. I can't even explain how good it felt.
Yeah, getting a film done is a feat in itself, because so many things have to come together right for it to happen. It's such a huge collaboration, and so to see a final project, actually up on a screen is just huge. So you came into Devil Dogs. Just to let you know and to let the listeners know, we auditioned a lot of young actors for the part that you ended up getting, and there were some amazing actors. You stood out immediately for us because you just seemed to embody the character. So in Devil Dogs, you play Private First Class Juarez, who is the youngest Marine. He's a bit of an idealist he really looks up to the other Marines. Why did you want to get involved in this project to begin with? I mean, other than an acting gig, right?
No, with acting, it's funny, because acting, it's my passion, but it's a channel for all my other dreams I wanted to do in my life. Like all those little things, like through acting, I can still be that rock star. Through acting, you can still be that singer. I can still use all these, that gymnast, all these other talents that I grew up with, but I didn't pursue, but I can use it towards acting. I always grew up, like, I was the weakest guy growing up. I was always picked on, and then I had a friend that went to the Marines. That persona he had. He was already training. He was already going through boot camp, and he's just such a serene and just confident figure. I was like, I want that in my life. I want to be that mentally and internally strong. But through Devil Dogs, I was able to live out that dream.
What's amazing that when you bring this up, kind of as an aside, one of our military consultants who we hired for this project, who was actually in Fallujah, and he went when he was 19, so he would have been the same age as Juarez, and actually the same age, close to your age. I think you had just turned 20 right before we shot. Is that correct? So you were 19.
That's correct.
And we were speaking with him, and this was his first deployment. And can you imagine your first deployment, and it's in Fallujah? And he's not a big guy. He's a little guy, similar to Juarez and you, Raihan. So he was the smallest guy in his platoon and in his fire team, and he carried the biggest gun. He carried the saw.
Oh my God!
And he's an incredible guy. It doesn't, your size does not matter. He's a very strong, courageous guy, and anyway, I just wanted to throw that in because you mentioned, that you were one of the weakest guys and the littlest guys growing up, and I don't think that matters, and I don't think it matters to Juarez either.
It's just...
So, really, what attracted you to the character of Juarez?
The funny thing is, it's like I come across, like, my agents, managers will submit me on projects. What they see is best for me. But for me, it's like things I submit myself out on is the ones I usually book because when I look at it, I'm able to personally connect. Like, wow, like when I saw the breakdown for Juarez, I'm like, this is me. Like, I can do this. This guy is like, it's almost just an alter ego of myself, like in another universe where I was like, okay. And yeah, knowing that gives me such big confidence because when I go into an audition room, I don't have to like act or pretend to be someone because the character is myself and no one can play myself better than me.
Yeah.
So I just bring,
so tell me, what do you think that the similarities were between you and Juarez?
For me and Juarez, it's just that eagerness, that optimism. I'm always focusing on the positive, the bright side of things. Being with Juarez, it was just an amazing experience because I really did look up to all the other actors that was on set with me, and so it was really easy to channel in that just inspiration and I loved it. I loved being with these other, just fitting in. I finally got considered a brother. And that was incredible.
Yeah, the cast of actors who played the Marines, really seemed to bond and become like their own little band of brothers. So that was your experience on set. Oh,
yeah. The best part was actually us as actors. We were fulfilling our character's needs, but we were both our character on screen and off screen. So even sitting around at lunch on the table, we're still going at it. Everyone's just screwing with each other. They're still in the same complete mentality, and that's what happened with actually a joke came across where fucking Juarez.
Yeah, there was a running joke that was going on during rehearsal and on the set. Every time something got messed up, I'm fucking Juarez.
Oh yeah, it's just with me because I do tend to be I get so eager and like energized that I focus on the entire like actual like I don't know I tend to be a klutz, pretty much what I'm trying to get at. And so all those rookie mistakes I'm doing, like when we're not even shooting, like, oh God, like I drop something, they look back like, fucking Juarez. It's like, it's expected, and it's just,
and
it was awesome.
Some of that stuff wasn't even written into the script, which was amazing. That each of the actors and the characters really brought that to the role, and it wasn't on the page. So I think one of the things that you did bring was there's a scene where you end up dropping your weapon, which is like a totally uncool thing, but it would be a rookie mistake that could happen, and so. That was one thing that I think that you brought to the role that really wasn't on the page, and we were able to really create some great dialogue and stuff around that and add to who that character is. So what else do you think maybe that you brought to the role that wasn't already on the page, that darn screenwriter didn't write, which is me? I'm very glad that the actors brought more to the, that wasn't on the page. That's really the fun and the joy and the art of collaboration on a film.
I wouldn't say I added anything. It was amazing screenwriting and the character breakdown was awesome, but I more filled it in and I empowered it into different spectrums where it's still the character, but now there's parts of myself that fit in with the character that the writer didn't see, that the writer wasn't able to really just write down because it wasn't them, it was myself. So I was able to bring in both my conscious actions and even my unconscious actions, like screwing up and like accidentally like dropping things and just being that, because that's the guy I am. And so that just helps just bring out more life, more authentic life in the character.
Yeah, and you did a wonderful job of that, and I think all of the actors really added in that way. So, what's the next steps on your path? Do you have any other projects that you're working on or moving toward right now?
Yeah, so just to start off, like the Devil Dogs, this has been my most amazing, best shoot I've ever done. Because before this job, I was always considering myself an aspiring actor because I was only doing like short films, student films, a commercial here and there, but there wasn't anything substantial. But this job, this was the first time I was able to really sit down and tell myself, like, I am a professional actor. I got to sit down with all these incredible actors, Greg Dukes, Andres Moreno Perez.
Andres Perez Molina.
Molina. Okay, Perez.
Say that 3 times fast.
Andrew, just all these guys are just, I just, even offset, I still had that, just, I want to be where they are, like, just how Juarez is with his brothers, how he looks up to all of them. I looked up to all my brothers in real life, seeing where they are right now with their careers. I'm like, I want to be that. They inspired me to drive me up further. I'm like, you know what? Now it only gets better from here. I don't need to take those small student films anymore. Like, this is what I'm meant for. Like, this kind of film, these sort of things, just being on set, getting up, waking up 4 a.m., being on set like 5:36, and just, it's such a rush. It is.
Well, let me then ask you a few more things about Devil Dogs, and since you have more to say about it, let me ask you a couple more stuff. So how did you prepare for the part? Did you do anything special to prepare for the part? I know you didn't get a haircut because we had to do that on set.
Oh, God, yeah. That was awesome. But more mental preparation. I just went back to the script, really personalizing everything to myself. Personalizing what Juarez is going through to make it real into my own life. And as well, just doing research, just really finding out about Fallujah, how bad and scary it really was. Because beforehand, I've only heard stories, but I finally got to see footage and video of what went on there, and that just watching it through like a computer still like started eating at my heart, my gut started just, I don't know, like clenching up. I was like, wow, I'm not even there yet. I'm just watching footage. But if I was at this age to really submerge myself into this environment where death and killing is so prevalent, that's what I really needed to step into, was that mindset.
And you did a great job of that. You had an opportunity on Devil Dogs to work with a very talented actor, and for the Kernel Scene. Tell us how that went and how you prepared for that.
Oh my God, that was amazing. The preparation I did beforehand actually did not even like come up to what I felt and realized, like seeing him in person. I was like, oh wow, like I really didn't have to try to like personalize anything because it's all right here. Like just in my actual day, I was getting this feeling of like this hierarchy. I had so much respect, and just seeing him, I already had that sense of nervousness, and like I want to impress him. I want him to be proud of me, and I completely felt or I struggled like with his colonel. It's the same way I felt towards the actor. I was like, and as soon as I started bounding up those stairs and I saw him, I literally felt like, oh shit, it's him. And then I was like, just me thinking about it, I'm starting to like feel that anxiety and like excitement, and it started stuttering a bit, but that's exactly what I wanted to feel.
Yeah, because Juarez is supposed to have that sense of being nervous because he's meeting the colonel, who's in charge of all of the Marine battalions in the war, and also, which you knew going into it, and I'm not sure if our listeners do, that scene really was brought to life because the director of the film, Lindsay Holt, had contacted Colonel Mike Shoup, who was in charge of the Marine battalions during Fallujah, and Colonel Shoup was just so generous and gracious with his time and his insights, and he really shared with the director over several conversations and emails what his experience was there, and a lot of that was incorporated into the scene. So it was a very important scene to add authenticity and integrity and convey what was going on for the real people running that battle. So that was something that you became a part of. So was that kind of hanging over you that, wow, this is, that we need to honor these guys and this real story?
Mm-hmm. That was as well one of the things I wanted to do with the film was just really bring that respect these guys deserve. So the people that sacrificed themselves in Fallujah, to just bring awareness to what they put themselves through, and like not just a physical sacrifice, but as well mentally sacrifice themselves. Like I know whatever I put myself through would not even be at what they actually experienced and felt, but it was my duty as an actor to bring as much truth as possible to just that story.
Yeah, and what's amazing is we had a couple U.S. Marine veteran and also U.S. Navy veteran consultants, military consultants on the set, and there were some scenes that we did where they actually had to go off and hang out in the trailer because it was so authentic or similar to experiences that they had in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Crew were the unsung heroes for everything. They had it just like, yes, it was hot for us, but they were out there in the sun all day. We had the privileges like going under shade or going in the trailer, but those guys, they really had to put themselves through it. And I was like, that was one of the inspirations for me. I was like, wow, these guys are the ones, they're so committed. There was actually a scene where I was supposed to get dragged, and it's the POV from my view. And that was just something I was used to, but there's a point where they're like debating, like, are we gonna, like, is Juarez actually gonna like film it with the camera? But they actually ended up, I took off my flak and all my uniform, and the cameraman actually went through the whole process too. So he became an actor for a second, getting dragged through the dirt with the camera. I was like, oh my, that is so much pressure. Like, I don't even know what I would have done. So I have so much pressure.
We put cameraman Steve Carter, who was great, in a Marine uniform with a camera so that he could get the point of view of Juarez, and just did a great job, and it really makes a difference to get that camera angle. So he was a team player there for sure.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So what's next on your path there? What other projects are you working on?
I know for a fact that just Devil Dogs has been the best job I've done, but now that I've done that, that is my starting point, where the next jobs I do, it's going to be better and better and better. Because Devil Dogs was actually the first professionally done shoot I've done since I've been out here. Just both, everyone was so professional about the equipment, being able to see, like, just watch how all the shooting went, the cameras, the red cameras, and just the footage that came out, such professional quality footage. I was like, okay, this is what I want for my career. And so, yeah, my next goal is just the book, a professionally studio show, whether it's a co-star or a lead or just on a pilot. That's what I want. But for my the next project I'm working on right now is actually a supernatural miniseries, where it's about, I can't give away too much because it's still in the process, but yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to have special effects. I'm going to have superpowers, and it's going to be an incredible experience.
Wow, you went from a Marine to a supernatural hero.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing. What a great trajectory. And so I can't wait to have you on the show again when all of these other projects come out, and, of course, when Devil Dogs comes out. Any final words of wisdom or thoughts that you'd like to share?
There's so much conflict within the world, and there's always people are angry with each other because their beliefs don't align with each other. Like, what's really the best way to solve conflict is actually, instead of blaming someone else on the external point of view, is to look within. To really look like, why is that bothering me? Not that they're at fault, but why does that bother me? And just really see where that affects myself, and see, like, where can I take action to let this part of myself go, to be open, to be loving. And as well, that to really help out the world, the best thing I can do is help myself become the best person I can be. Just work out of compassion, work out of just being responsible, committed, and just certain. And by allowing myself to become better and better, people actually start to look at me and like, wow, like, Raihan, like, you're doing so much work on yourself. Like, I actually, like, not even trying to help them, I help them because it inspires them to make the choice to become better people. So that's the best thing I can do, to help others. Just help yourself, be the best person you can be.
Well, thanks for sharing that, and thanks so much for your time today.
Of course, Laura. This was such an amazing experience. Thank you for having me on the show.